Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another Monday and another Discuss Detroit. Uh, I'm Jeanette Pierce, your hostess, and this is, of course, Discuss Detroit, where we talk with community leaders, residents, and entrepreneurs about the city that we love. Today's guest is Mark Covington of the Georgia Street Community Collective. And we're excited to talk with him ahead of our tour tomorrow around Green Detroit, sustainability, and land use in the city, one of our virtual tours Tuesday series. So, hi, Mark. How are you today?
Hi, Jeanette. How you doing?
Thanks so much for taking time to be with us on this beautiful day that we can see behind you.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't we start by letting folks get to know you and give us your 2-minute life story.
Well, my name is Mark Covington. I am the second oldest of 7 children, born and raised right here on Georgia Street on the east side of Detroit, City Airport neighborhood. Four kids. I have 4 boys, grown boys, and I love helping Detroit and doing stuff for Detroit.
That's awesome. 4 boys, not all at once though, right? Because as triplets, I have triplets, so I'm always thinking like, oh wait, is that all at once?
No. Spread out. 28, 27, 23, and 20. Well, one getting ready to be 20.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so
that's great. So tell us a little bit about what is the Georgia Street Community Collective, what's its origin story. Obviously, it's tied into your stories. I mean, it is your story. I mean, do you ever think the whole like my story and the organization story,
yeah,
like it's so together? And as a social entrepreneur, which you are, and people have used that term for me too, the idea of starting a nonprofit to have a positive impact. I kind of thought that for that term originally was like, oh no, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just doing this thing to try to do some, I just like to talk to people. I want to share Detroit with them. But tell us how that works for you.
Well, it started in 2008, April 8th, 2008. I lost my job in December 2007 and had to move back home with my mother and my grandmother. And I saw these 4 vacant lots that people had started dumping trash on. And I figured I didn't have anything to do at that time. So I'm going to, clean them up, and figured if I cleaned them up, people were going to dump garbage on them again. So I figured if I put some vegetables on it, plant some flowers, keep the grass cut, maybe people will stop dumping on it. But being out there and not being outside that much, before that, got to talk to some of our seniors in the neighborhood, and they were telling us how they were struggling with paying for medication over food, with their budgets. And I figured I'd make it bigger. And then a lady down the street had 2 foster boys and a son. She asked me, could I give them some structure? And they came down and started helping in the garden. And they must have liked it because they kept coming back and they kept bringing other kids with them. And I didn't want it to just be something that I did in the summertime. I wanted it to be like all year long. And kitty corner from the garden was a storefront in a house that was abandoned. And I literally said a prayer in the garden that I needed that space. And 2 weeks later, a lawyer came walking through the neighborhood with a flyer saying that it was in probate. And we got the hearing information, told the judge what we were going to do with it, and she gave it to us. And that kind of kicked it off. So now we do a school supply giveaway every year, Easter egg hunt, we do Christmas dinners, we do Thanksgiving turkey giveaways, cookies and crafts for Christmas and Valentine's Day. We do coat giveaways, of course, food giveaway, fresh food and fresh fruit. But we also have our community room in the storefront and a kitchen, and we all in the house we have a computer lab and a library. And so we also do before COVID, we were doing an after-school program and a summer program with youth, and but it's been kind of weird this year. But we still plan on doing it again soon. But we help out wherever we can. When people come knock on the door or call us and say they need help with something, because we get donations of clothes. Sometimes we have access to resources for furniture. Not all the time, but a lot of times we have to turn certain things away because we don't have the space. But we get in where we fit in. And that's technically how we started.
It's amazing. Well, and how you just continue to grow is about the need of the community. They need this. Well, let's try that. And if someone needs this, we'll get into that. So how big is the collective now, or what's the footprint look like? Maybe we can, here, we'll go to, I'm gonna screen share here and go to the map to show people where we're at, where Georgia Street Community Collective is. So he mentioned the east side. So we are just off of Gratiot here on the east side. We'll zoom in. And so it's called Georgia Street Community Collective because it's on Georgia Street, for those that are wondering. Or then, you know, it's funny, like sometimes people don't think, like Heidelberg Project. People are like, why is it called the Heidelberg Project? Because it's on Heidelberg Street, right? I mean, it's a simple naming tool. And Vinton Avenue. So you have Gratiot over here is obviously the main street, but Georgia and Vinton are your corners. So how many lots now? And like you started with just the one lot next to your mom's house, or where you were living?
Well, actually, probably about 4 lots down, but we started on a corner with 4 lots, and now we have 15 lots plus 3 structures, 2 houses and a storefront.
Okay, so here's a Google Street View. This is what's one of the cool tools about using technology and what we use a lot on our virtual tours. And we'll actually be coming back here on the virtual tour tomorrow. So this is Georgia Street in Vinton. So and here you can see the sign, the Georgia Street Community Garden sign. So it's over here. And then, so tell us about what were, there's Mark cleaning up. Like he's probably spent a lot of time doing. This building, is this the building that you were talking about that you got first?
Yep, yes, that's the building. That's the first, that was our first building. The house and the house behind it is connected to it.
And so these were empty.
Yep, abandoned. People thought I was crazy because they thought that was going to be the next structure to be torn down in our neighborhood. But I saw something different.
And let's look at some of the pictures, you know, and some of these, we'll go to the garden in a sec, but you were mentioning inside. And I think this is one of the coolest things. I mean, there's over 1,400 farms and gardens in the city. I mean, 1,500, the number seems to keep going up depending on who you're talking to and everything. But yours is, you know, and it used to just be, not just be, it was, and we were talking about this earlier, you know, Georgia Street Community Garden, but now it's a collective because it's so much more than a garden. So you were talking about after school programs. So, you know, these are just some of the pictures from inside that structure we were just looking at. Talk about the, you know, how you went from gardening, you know, doing the outside, the fruits, vegetables, and helping, and, you know, having people help with that, to let's, you know, do an inside programming.
Yeah, well, the computer lab and the library came about with our collaboration with the school down the street, and then having our after school program, and wanting the kids to have something to do all year long, not just in the winter, in the summertime. So they'll be able to come after school, you know, during the school year, then have a place to study, read books, take books home if they want to, and also use the computers. But then it also turned to where, you know, adults were coming in to, you know, if they needed assistance, they would be able to get on the computer to you know, do the work, paperwork and whatever for assistance and paying their bills, some of them finding jobs. But they all come here. Some of them just use the fax machine and the copy machine. So, but they, you know, people come and utilize the space. And then the storefront, which I'm not sure if there's pictures on there, but the inside of the storefront, we turned it into a community room, and we can host about 50 people. If we had sit down dinner, it's about 50 people at a time. And then we have a kitchen.
Well, and kitchen, so people can people, is it like a commercial kitchen then? Or
it's not technically a commercial kitchen yet. That's one of my goals, but that's one thing we want to create, as a commercial kitchen space where people can come in, and, you know, we know that there's some caterers in the neighborhood that don't have a kitchen, and they actually use their houses, but they can grow more if they're able to have a commercial kitchen space. So that's something we want to provide for them.
Well, and so you mentioned, so at the beginning, so this is your mom, and this is team GSDC right here, pretty
Yes, it
much,
is.
right?
Pretty much. Day-to-day operations is myself and my mother.
Tell us a little bit about your mom.
She was born here in Detroit. Her father used to grow gardens on the west side, actually North Corktown. And so she moved with my father and my grandmother on Georgia Street in 1969, 1970, and been here just about ever since.
It's awesome. I love, and this is the mural or saying that you had, plant a seed and watch it grow. I mean, if that's not an example of what you guys did. I mean, 2008, and I remember, you and I met early on. I started Detroit Experience Factory in 2006, but didn't quit my day job until 2008. So then was, starting to try to do that full time. And I don't remember really how we met. I don't know if you do, but I just remember, we were just being part. It's just a community, you meet people in the neighborhood, in the community, people doing stuff.
I believe it was either Detroit Synergy or Detroit Yes.
Yeah, those bring back some matter. Detroit Synergy was an amazing organization, really grassroots, and one of their big claims to fame at that time was they actually contacted people via email. Oh, it was like they had this amazing email list, but people would come together and they had a lot of great structure to help projects get done and help people collaborate and just connect with each other. It was a really great organization that was really needed at that time. And so, yeah, there's a lot of connections that I think have come out of Detroit Synergy.
Yeah.
And then, so tell us a little bit about the farm now too, or the farm garden. You still call it a garden? I feel like it's bigger. So for me, like saying garden seems, not enough of a word, but it's up to, your whatever your choice of word is the one we'll go with, obviously.
Well, we have like 4 different spaces. So
yeah.
So we actually have a farm with animals or livestock. And that's where I'm sitting now. But then we still have the community garden. It was one point where I wanted to stop doing the community garden because people wasn't picking right. But we'll probably always have some semblance of a community garden. But yep, so there's this Cotton and Pepper. That's 2 of our goats.
So, I mean, farm. I mean, having animals, and again, lots of gardens around the city, and they're all great in lots of ways. But this is next level stuff right here. Having like not only the after school programs, but the goats.
Yeah.
What are they? What do you do with it? And I do not know animals very well, or I'm not a green thumb person. I'm more buildings and such. So you got to teach me everything here. What are the uses? How did you get them? And what do they add to the project?
Well, we got the goats. Actually, Pepper was born here. So Pepper is the son of Cotton, who's standing next to him. So the white goat is Cotton. Cotton's been here since she was 6 months old, and she's 7 now. And then we got Cotton in a group of goats from Ohio 7 years ago. And then I wanted, it was like something to keep the kids interested. So when we started, I took some classes with the Garden Research Program with Keep Growing Detroit, and we talked about composting, which everybody knows, or when you try to grow organically, you need organic materials, and so composting was one of the ways to get that. So they were talking about how chicken manure is a good source of nitrogen for the compost pile, and I wanted some chickens. I said I'm gonna get a few chickens, and those few chickens turned to 10, and then it kept growing. But when I got the baby chicks in the mail, by the way, one of the little girls that in the mail.
FedEx?
No, United States Postal Service.
See, the Postal Service does everything, and not just another reason we need to be supporting the Postal Service.
Yes.
Wow, in the regular USPS mail.
They came and knocked on the door, and Now though, it's changed a little bit. Now you have to go when you order. If you order online, you go to the post office to pick them up. But at that time, they were delivering them to the door in the box, chirping like here.
Wow.
And but I wanted more chickens because of actually this one little girl. She used to cuss like a sailor, and I used to tell her all the time, like, you know, young ladies don't cuss like that. And she'd say, I'm not a lady, you know. And she was only about 7 or 8 years old. And but I got the baby chicks. I'm sitting on the porch with them, and her little crew come walking down the street, and she came up on the porch and saw the baby chicks, and she melted. Like, I mean, it was like she got a brand new baby doll. And I was like, okay, this is going to be the way that I'm going to be able to get to the kids, you know. And everybody, all those kids that came on that porch that day picked out a chick, and that's the chicken that they wanted to take care of. And that's how I got started. And then somebody found out I had chickens, asked me that I want a duck. It was a male duck. I got them a female, and then they kept, you know, reproducing. Then somebody said, you should get a goat. And then a friend of mine, matter of fact, Steve Gannon, he says, I got a friend that's giving away a goat. Do you want it? I was like, yeah, heck yeah. And it was a boy, so I got him a girl, and that started, you know. And then, you know, learning about the goats, like you don't want them to keep reproducing with the same, you know, family. So I bring a couple other girls in, you know, and just keep rotating them out. And then one of the kids said, you need a pig now. And so.
Listen, you got a pig?
Yes, we have 5. And they're not the little pretty little pink pigs, you know, for meat or whatever, but they were just an addition. And but all of this, you know, is we use the manures when we clean up to put it into the compost pile, and you know, and we do it the right way. There's a system for composting manure, but we have very good, rich plants.
Well, and then what about like goat milk? Like, do you milk?
Oh yeah,
goats?
I don't know. How did I forget that? So that's.
I'm just guessing. I mean, I don't know a lot about animals, but I do know I have heard about goat milk.
Yeah, well, that's my favorite part about keeping the goats, and then the chickens is the eggs. But the goats, yes, they provide milk for technically me. Because I love cheese. Yes, I make goat cheese. Yes. Oh. Yeah, so I hate like this time of the year. They're dry, so they don't produce all year long. They dry up, but yeah. So yeah, I every once in a while I'll sell some cheese, or I'll give away some cheese, but most of the time it's for me.
Hey, you deserve it. You deserve. You can make a whole charcuterie platter from your farm there. I mean, you can have some goat cheese. You can probably get some berries and make some compote, and and then, that's been on my brain a little bit. I do like some good goat cheese. That's awesome. Well, and again, you are working your butt off, and you've been doing this for 12 years now. Can you believe it's been that long? And you don't have $1 million grant laying around either. Let's, just talk a little bit about that. So in terms of the ability, and, we started at a Detroit Experience Factory and now a City Institute. We, the themes that we talk about the most in Detroit are innovation and inspiration, and Detroiters who just say, hey, why don't I do this? I want to make an impact. Could you have imagined 12 years ago? Did you have a strategic plan that said you're in 12 years you're going to own five pigs, 2 goats, 10 chickens? No. Right, that's not how it happens exactly. So
no,
so how
I didn't even have a business plan.
right no, I know, neither did we. Yeah. So how do you how do you fund the organization, and when you're doing these other, how do you decide when to expand or add things?
Well, But that you need to hear that from my mother, because I just come outside and like, oh, I want this. We need to do this so to make it easier so we can do that. And then like lately I've been thinking, like, if I get older and I'm still doing this, I don't want to have to, get down on my knees to clean out a chicken coop or bend over. So I've been making things a little taller so I can get in.
See,
But
innovation. That's
yeah.
innovation right there.
Yeah. And then, but I think about my neighbors too, like if they come over to work in the garden or they come to pick something, that it won't be hard. And, like we made the beds wider so people can walk through it a little easier. Different stuff like that. But we only sell, every once in a while we'll sell vegetables, fruits and vegetables, but that's not like our staple. We just, if somebody wants something and we got it, we let them pick or we pick and then give it to them. But we sell eggs from the chickens. We also sell honey because I am a beekeeper now. This is my 7th year keeping bees. And, so that's our like income that way. That's, we do make a nice little amount of money a year on honey sales. But
where do you sell them at? Where do you sell the eggs and honey? Where can people get that?
Right from here, from Georgia Street Community Collective. They can call or send me an email and tell me, how much they want. I'm getting ready to harvest honey, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, because we had to start over again. So last year, so this year we're harvesting honey.
Yeah. Is there like, the same thing with the neighbors? Like if they need something, they either reach out, or is there a certain day traditionally that you're, do you ever do like a little farmer, mini farmers market or anything? Or
no, we don't. Most of the time people just say they want something and we'll have it ready for them. We do have a new farm stand now, which has free things on it. We try to replenish it every couple of days, where people can just walk up and grab it instead of having to go into the community garden and pick. Because the farm part is not a come pick, anytime you want. It's actually fenced in. It's more of an educational garden, but people do come and we can teach them how to pick, and they can, take stuff with them. But the community garden is always open. That's the spot where when it's done growing, it's done. But a lot of the stuff on the farm part we grow for our events too. So like we have a turkey basket giveaway. We put collard greens and green beans in it. And then we have collard greens and green beans that we grow for our Christmas dinner, where we feed about 150 people every year.
So you from your farm, you can get enough green beans and collard greens to feed 150 people?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We got a nice little collard
how many acres about then? So, I mean, I guess a couple questions. Is that the farm part, is that what's the acreage there? But then you mentioned you have 15 different lots. So like, what's kind of the total ballpark of acreage?
It's just under an acre. And that's yeah. And that's just the vacant lots. So we have like, and now all the lots we don't grow on. They're like, we have community spaces. So where the community garden used to be or is, we used to, at one point we had 42 raised beds over there before we started the farm over here. But in that space we have picnic tables, picnic shelters, barbecue grills, and people can come. It's like an open space where people can come. And we've had birthday parties and
anybody can use it, or
yep. Usually they let us know they use it just in case we have an event or something that we're using space, but we only use that space twice a year. So
where is that at? Let's see, can we see it? What down, is it down Benton or Georgia?
It's on Georgia. It's actually where the community garden sign is.
Oh.
And if you look to the right of that space, there's an open space.
Like here?
Keep going. Right there. So that tree is no longer there.
Okay.
And then so there's 4 lots right from that corner back.
Yeah.
So see the movie screen over in the back?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So coming forward, all that space right now is like a picnic area.
Okay. Also, I like to do this little historic thing. This is, the before and after, right? you
Right.
know, and of a lot of I mean, this is a year after you started, but and I just think it's cool that with the street view you can really see some of the changes that have happened,
Yeah.
that you have done, that you and your mom and a small set of volunteers. I mean, that's just absolutely, so this was 2009. A little time travel for you here, Mark. You
Yeah.
remember the little, when you had just that was the beginning, right? One
Yeah.
little garden,
Yeah.
and you had just empty, unused space over here, this couple tire that you made into plants. And then now, well, and we'll wait to see them drive by again, but that's so cool. The movie theater. So, and I'm mentioning this now because obviously with COVID and everything going on, if somebody was on a bike ride and wanted to like sit there and have a little, sandwich and and some water they brought with them, they could totally do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's wide open. They can sit there. We actually, when I walked out this morning, somebody was asleep over on the bench. So,
Hey,
yeah.
it's community. I mean, sometimes that's what people need.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So how has COVID, changed what, I mean, I know you do talk a little bit, just really quick about the big events that you normally have each year, and then probably how obviously those how aren't happening or how COVID's affected the farm in general.
Yeah. Well, so like our first event that we had to technically cancel was our Easter egg hunt. And that's we used to have like 100 kids coming for that, but we had to cancel. So we just made up a bunch of Easter baskets, and the kids that we knew that we could go deliver, we delivered Easter baskets to them. So our next event would be our school supply giveaway, which we still haven't figured out how we're going to do that. But talking with the principal at the local school, elementary, middle school, knowing that we still are, they're still going to have supplies, whether they're face to face or at home, virtual. So hopefully we'll be starting that, getting that stuff together. But it won't be as big as it's been. We used to that, like last year we had our arcade trailer or the video game trailer, and we had bounce house and train and stuff like that. So this year we won't be able to do that. And it feels kind of weird. This would have been our 13th one. So it's like, it seems weird not being able to do it. So.
And maybe you could do some sort of social distance, like with the movie screen, you could still do movies. Maybe I've seen people in places doing, like, where you actually take some chalk and draw like circles on the ground or little squares.
Yeah.
So it kind of, and it helps. I mean, it's not like everyone's going to stay in their square every minute, but
Right.
It just helps like spread out, a little bit, or, maybe, oh, you know what? Also, I don't know if you've talked with reach out by like Justin Jacobs and Come Play Detroit, with the City Parks and Rec Department. They have are doing like a trailer of games that they'll bring to parks and neighborhoods, but it'll have things like hula hoop, which you obviously you have to be away from people to use a hula hoop, or you run into them, or a big chess set. I don't know. So maybe there's some ways, or maybe you just take an opportunity to catch up on other stuff, which I think you mentioned before that you're getting to be able to do a little bit this summer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still plan on getting supplies for them. We just might not have it might be like a drive-through pickup, or we just have it for the school to be able to give it to the school so they can distribute it to the kids, or something like that. But the other ones would be like, our biggest time for events is like August through February, so it's like, what we're going to do as far as like our Christmas dinner, it's like, it's always been like a sit down dinner. So we're, sitting down, coming up with some plans, like to just cook a bunch of food like we usually do, make to go plates, and then pass it out to people, so we're doing something, something's going to be done. But our other event is like our coat giveaway, and we do like 200 to 300 coats every year with scarves and gloves, hats. And it's like, how are we going to set up to pass that out? So one thing about the summertime, like we didn't have, it was already set. We already knew what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And now we have to sit down and figure out, a different way of doing it. So,
yeah. But that's kind of what you've been doing almost the whole time, right? Is figuring stuff out. Like, hey, I want to do this. How do I get a goat? How do I get that land? And so for each event, how, you just get asked for donations and individual donations mostly for each event?
Yep. It's certain people that every year they donate to a certain event. We got some people that just donate to the school supply giveaway, and some people donate coats and hats and scarves and stuff. And that's how we've been doing it.
That's awesome. It's awesome, but I also wish that you could get a big pile of money from somewhere, so you wouldn't have to, you could do, that's what's always amazing. And when people come from other places and we share, some of the stories of like yours, of just amazing people who with not a lot of resource, non-millionaires who go out and just make things happen and have that positive impact. For people from other places are just blown away because they're used to having all these resources and they're amazed at what people can do without that $1 million, right? But $1 million doesn't hurt. But I think that that's something important to to recognize that we do here. And it's amazing that you have done, and with your mom and volunteers, right? Or that throughout the years have taken this little idea that you had and turned a garden into a community organization that helps hundreds, thousands, in a normal year, thousands of children.
I don't know. I'm not good with stats. So it's, I don't know.
It's got to be thousands of people, because each event, if you're talking a couple hundred people each event, maybe it's the same people, but it's certainly had an impact, is a really big impact.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty amazing. So how can people help? What's your call to action? So people who have just learned about your organization, or just learned, to the depth of what your organization does, what do you want them to do next?
They can donate time and money. We have still been having a consistent 3 volunteers this year, but and we practice social distancing. But a time you can call or email me if you want to come and volunteer, because we don't have set dates, because I'm out here almost every day. But usually when we set dates, people don't show up. So we just say, hey, if you want to volunteer, just come on out and let me know. And I definitely can find you something to do, even in the wintertime.
Right. Especially, and if you want to, and I'll just put this in there because, I'd been at United Way when I first started my career, and I've worked with a lot of nonprofits. Volunteers are really amazing, but if a repeat volunteer is even more amazing, because the learning curve goes down each time then, right? So the more that if you have one time to volunteer, great. But if you can do one day a month, a couple times a year, whatever it might be, it's so much more helpful if they can know that you kind of already have the hang of things, and it saves a little bit of time and energy. So that's my personal pitch on things.
That is true, because I can just open the gate, and like somebody will tell me, like one friend is Jennifer, when she comes, like she might ask, what are we doing today? But most of the time she just come in and start, and I don't have to say nothing. She just, because she knows what needs to be done, so that in the perfect world, those are the type of volunteers we need. But we need volunteers, period. It's
Absolutely. And it's outside. It's easy to do social distance and safe, volunteer opportunities. And for people that have not been able to get outside as much, or after 6 months almost now of being, not being able to do everything that they would normally do, this is a great opportunity to, get outside, do something good, have a positive impact. And here's your website that I pulled up. It's georgiastreetcc.com. Also, you can look and donate. So as I mentioned, they do not get And even for organizations that do get funding, grant funding, individual donations are always really important, but especially for Georgia Street. So you can just go to their website and there's a little donate button right here. And you can also see like some of their past events. And then you can follow them on Facebook and just keep in touch. And Mark is really easy to get a hold of via any of these. So is this here on your contacts here? Look at this. Look at this, people. There's Mark. There's his cell phone number and his email for you. That just doesn't make it easier than that. And with these, what was that? The turkeys. The turkey. Yeah. It was kind of dark. I was like, is that anyway? Are those the turkeys that you use for are those the turkeys you use for the turkey giveaway?
No. Now
that's what I thought. I was like, is that a headless turkey?
I have butchered some turkeys, for people before, but no, that's not. No, I could never keep that many.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you everybody for listening in. Don't forget to join us tomorrow, Tuesday, August 18th for our free virtual tour on green sustainability and land use, innovation and inspiration in Detroit. Mark is just one example, but is one of, I think, the most amazing and unfortunately, I think least heard about. You hear about a lot of other gardens and farms in the city, but I think the work that you're doing and how much beyond the garden and farm part that you've done and the impact you've had on your neighborhood and the whole city is absolutely inspirational. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at Detroit Experience Factory and City Institute as well. And we hope to see you soon on one of our virtual or now in-person experiences. And we can also start accommodating private groups for in-person and virtual experiences too. In-person walking tours. We can do neighborhoods around the city and do all sorts of really cool things. We have a best of downtown walking tour on Saturday where you can use headphones and you stay distant from everybody. And you can find out all of that at DetroitExperienceFactory.org. Have a great week.